Ladies and gentlemen, there are truths in life we don't see until we've walked through fire. Lessons written in pain, whispered in regrets, carved deep into the soul. And I stand before you to say, we learn this too late. We waste our youth thinking we have time, so much time. We say, next year I'll slow down. Next month I'll call them. Tomorrow I'll love differently. And time, like sand, slips through our fingers. We chase after shadows, fame, fortune, approval, only to find they vanish when we need substance most. We break hearts, sometimes unknowingly, sometimes in pride. We say, I'll fix it later, but later doesn't always come. And what's left? Silence, regret, tears on a pillow no one sees. Let me tell you, kindness is never wasted. A kind word may seem small, but it can light up the darkest soul. And yet we learn this too late. We wait until the funeral to say the words we should have spoken while they were still alive. We sacrifice health for wealth and then wealth to get health back. We learn too late that the body is not a machine. It's a gift. Treat it like one. Because you don't get a second one. And oh, how we forget the people. We forget to hug our children a little tighter. We forget to tell our parents a thank you. We let friendships die on the altar of busyness until the room is empty. Until we scroll through old photos and whisper, I one more day. We search for peace in places that promise it but cannot deliver. In vows, in applause, in promotions. But peace doesn't live in things. It lives in things and surrender. In the quiet moments when we finally stop running. And perhaps the most painful lesson we learn too late is this. Forgiveness is not a favor we give others. It's freedom we give ourselves. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the hate. It's not protecting you. It's poisoning you. My friends, hear me now. Don't wait. Don't wait until you're older, sick, or lonely, or full of regret. Choose today to live differently. Choose now. Because these lessons, they are truths, eternal, powerful, life-giving, but far too often we learn them too late. There comes a moment in every life, a quiet, still moment, when we realize that time, the very thing we spent so carelessly, the thing we traded for empty pleasures and temporary gains, was never a thing we owned. Never a thing we could pause or rewind or relive, because time is the breath of life itself, and every second that ticks away is a moment that will never return, never be given again. And we, in all our busyness and chasing, forget that time is the currency of eternity, spent not in dollars or gold, but in minutes and heartbeats and choices we made when we thought we had forever. We wake up each day assuming there will be another one. We plan years in advance without realizing the next sunrise is a gift, not a guarantee. We scroll and rush and worry and wait for someday like it's a promise etched in stone, when in truth the clock does not bargain, it does not bend. It only moves forward without us, and by the time we feel the weight of our yesterdays, it is often too late to go back and hold the hands we miss, speak the words we swallowed of our life and as we meant to live, before distractions made us forget what really mattered. Oh. There is no rewind button for the hug you didn't give, the apology you withheld, the joy you postponed because you were too tired or too proud or too caught up in things that will fade. And all the while the seconds kept slipping, silent and steady, like water through cupped hands. And we are left staring at empty palms and wondering where it all went, not knowing that time was always asking us to pay attention, to cherish, to love fully, because one day all that will remain are the memories of how we used what we could never keep. We measure success in milestones and possessions and titles and achievements, but time is not impressed by what we accumulate. It is not moved by our trophies or our status. It only asks one thing. Were you present? The richest man is not the one who owns the most, but the one who was fully alive in the fleeting moment he was given, who knew that watching a sunset or holding a child's hand or sitting quietly in prayer was not a waste, but a holy use of something sacred and rare. And we say things like, I don't have time, as if we're not given the same 24 hours as the saints and sages and lovers and dreamers who changed the world with nothing more than a burning heart and the minutes they refuse to waste. Because the truth is, we do not lack time. We lack the awareness of its worth, and the longer we stay blind to that truth, the more why it all feels like a blur. Why we don't remember the days. We only remember the moments when we fight. We live like time is waiting for us, like we can outrun the consequences of delay, like we'll get around to forgiving, to healing, to changing, to living fully next week, next year when we retire, when the kids are grown. But the hard truth is, by then the chance may be gone, the people may be gone. We may be gone, and all we will have is a trail of yesterdays filled with the almosts and the not yets and the echo of what could have been if we had just looked like the clock was ticking, not as a threat, but as a reminder to wake up. And so I say this not to scare you, but to stir you, to shake the sleep from your soul and awaken you to the reality. The time is not your enemy. It is your invitation, your open door, your blank page waiting to be written with something real. Something eternal, something that will echo long after the hands of the clock stop turning. Because when you honor time, you honor the God who gave it, the people who share it, and the purpose you were born to fulfill within. So let the world keep rushing, let the noise keep roaring, but you choose to slow down, choose to breathe deep, choose to love well, to show up, to say yes to now, because now is all you really have. And one day when the final hour comes, may you not look back in sorrow or shame, but with the quiet peace of someone who knew the value of time, who didn't just count the minutes, but made the minutes count. Kindness is the quiet force that never makes headlines, the gentle words spoken in a storm, the hand reaching out when everyone else turns away, the unnoticed act that heals more than medicine, that restores more than reason, that lifts more than logic ever could. Kindness is not weakness. It is not small or soft or naive. It is strength wrapped in humility, power clothed in mercy, courage disguised as compassion. And though the world may scoff at it, time and truth reveal that kindness is the only thing that never rots, never spoils, never loses worth. We walk through this life carrying wounds we never show, burdens we never name. And most days we're just hoping someone will see us, not with judgment or critique or advice, but with eyes that say you matter. When kindness enters that space, even in the smallest form, a smile, a nod, a shared silence, it breaks something open in us, something hardened by hurt, something scarred by silence, because kindness doesn't just touch the skin. It reaches the soul and reminds us that we are still worthy of love. There are people walking this earth right now on the edge of breaking, not from some great tragedy, but from 1,000 small moments of being ignored, dismissed, rejected, forgotten, and you may never know it. But one kind word, your word, could be the bridge that carries them back to hope. The light that interrupts their darkness, the anchor that holds them through the night. And the tragedy is that we often realize this far too late, after the chance to speak life has passed, after the phone call we didn't make, after the goodbye we never got to change. Kindness does not need applause or audience. It does not need to be posted or praised, because it is its own reward, its own echo. And what you give in kindness never dies. It returns in ways you cannot predict. Returns through June. And when you choose kindness in a world that teaches you to guard, to fight, to win at all costs, you become a rebel of grace, a revolutionary of gentleness, a living contradiction to cruelty that says only the strong survive. We think the world is changed by power, by politics, by position, but the truth is, real change begins in ordinary moments, when someone chooses kindness instead of control, patience instead of pressure, listening instead of lecturing. And it's in those moments that walls fall, enemies soften. Love enters, and we remember that no matter how far we've wandered, kindness can still lead us home. There are people you pass every day who are drowning in silence, performing strength while hiding sorrow. And you don't need to fix them. You don't need the right words. You just need to be present, to notice, to care, to offer something, anything that says they're not alone. Because sometimes kindness is not in the answer, but in the awareness, not in the solution, but in the sincerity of simply showing up. And the beautiful aching truth is that kindness costs you nothing, but gives others everything. And while all the world will tell you it's foolish to be soft in a hard place, let me tell you, it is the only way to stay human in a world growing colder. The only way to break cycles of hate and hurt. The only way to bring heaven a little closer to earth, because the power of kindness is not that it changes others. It changes us, and in changing us, we begin to change the world. So choose kindness, not because they deserve it, not because you'll get something in return, but because it is who you are, because it is what lasts. Because when all is said and done, when the noise fades and the lights go out, people won't remember your success, your status, your possessions. They will remember how you made them feel, and if you gave them even one moment of kindness, you gave them something eternal. We spend the early chapters of our lives sprinting after things that shine but do not satisfy, chasing promotions, possessions, and praise, while sacrificing the one thing that makes all those other things even possible. And we don't realize it until the body begins to whisper, until the energy fades, until sleep stops healing and pain starts speaking, and suddenly we are forced to face the sobering truth that health is not just a side note. It is the foundation, the silent partner in every joy, every dream, every act of love we ever hope to give or receive. We ignore the signals, we numb the symptoms, we push past the warning signs in the name of productivity, as if rest is weakness and overwork is a badge of honor. But the body remembers, the body keeps score, and every skipped meal, every missed moment of movement. Every night we traded rest for hustle becomes a debt we cannot escape, a toll that comes due whether we're ready or not, because this vessel we live in was never meant to be treated like a machine. It is a miracle, a temple, and it will not be mocked. We measure wealth in numbers and titles and zeros on a screen, but what good is all the gold in the world if your knees can't bend without pain? If your heart is heavy with stress, if your breath is short, your mind is fogged, your soul too tired. And yet we don't begin to ask these questions until we are forced into hospital rooms and waiting chairs and quiet moments where doctors say things that can't be undone. And by then we are left wondering why we didn't see the value of what we had while it was still ours to protect. There is a lie we believe that self-neglect is noble, that burnout is proof of commitment, that collapsing at the finish line is a kind of glory. But there is no glory in being so depleted that you can't enjoy the life you. No reward in building an empire if your heart is breaking beneath the weight of it. And if you lose your health along the way, you lose the one thing that cannot be bought back. Because once vitality slips away, no check, no title, no applause can bring it fully home again. We think health is just about the body, but it's deeper. It's in the stillness of a rested mind, in the freedom of an unburdened soul, in the quiet joy of knowing you are aligned inside and out. And while gyms and diets and routines matter, true health is also in forgiveness and boundaries, in choosing peace over pressure and laughing long and sleeping deep and loving well. Because a healthy life is not a checklist. It is a rhythm, a way of honoring the life you've been given by taking care of the house you've been asked to live in. And so many people don't begin to treasure their freedom until it begins to leave, until breath becomes labored and steps become slower and diagnoses start to stack. And in those moments, they would trade all the money in the world, all the deals and deadlines, all the deadlines they once lived by, for just one more day of pain-free joy, one more morning to run with their children, one more night of sleep without fear. And by then the truth screams louder than ever. Health is not just wealth, it is life. But the good news is, no matter where you are, no matter what you've lost or how long you've ignored it, there is still time to turn, to begin again, because the body is forgiving, the heart is resilient, the soul remembers how to rest and recover. And if you choose today to honor what you've been given, to care for it with gentleness and grace, you will find that even small steps begin to rebuild what you thought was gone, because health is not perfection. It is attention, devotion, intention, one moment at a time. So hear me now. Before the sickness, before the diagnosis, before the regret, cherish the miracle of your health. Not just when it's failing, but while it's still yours, while your lungs still fill with breath, while your legs still carry you, while your heart still beats strong within your chest. Because true wealth is not in what you earn or own. It is in the ability to wake up each day with strength, with peace, with presence, and to live, not just exist, with a body and soul that are. We build our schedules around goals and tasks and screens and deadlines, chasing after more as if accumulation will answer the ache inside us. And yet with every new thing we acquire, we drift a little further from the dinner tables we used to gather around, the phone calls we used to make, the simple conversations that used to heal more than any medicine. And it's only when someone is gone that we realize no thing can fill the shape they left behind. We miss the birthdays, the ball games, the late night talks, telling ourselves we're doing it for the future, for security. But children don't remember paychecks. They remember presents. Spouses don't need fancy gifts nearly as much as they need to feel seen, heard, cherished. And friends don't measure your love by how much you spend, but by how much of yourself you give when it counts, when it's inconvenient, when it's rare. And the cruel truth is that things can be replaced, upgraded, rebought, restored, but people cannot. People are sacred. They are stories wrapped in skin. They are once in a lifetime encounter and key. And when we treat them like they're optional, like they're expendable, like they can wait until we're done building our empires, we end up with towers made of gold but hearts full of. You can drive the best car on the block, live in the biggest house in town, sit at the top of your field, but if your soul is lonely, and your table is empty and your phone never rings with laughter or love, you are not rich, you are starving. And no amount of achievement can feed what only relationship was designed to nourish. We don't get to keep anything in this life but the love we gave, the forgiveness we offered, the compassion we showed. And while things rust and break and fade, the memory of a hug in a hard season, the words that brought someone back from the kindness that made someone believe in humanity again, these things never die. They live on in the hearts of those we touched, echoing long after we are gone. And what a tragedy it is to realize too late that the very people we ignored while chasing the dream of the dream, that the family dinners we skipped were the moments we were building for, that the relationships we postponed were the only thing that ever really mattered. Because in the end, the only thing that can be taken from this world to the next is love, and everything else turns to ash. So I'll plead with you. Put the phone down, look someone in the eyes, say what needs to be said, forgive quickly, laugh deeply, show up. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, because people are not distractions from your real life. They are your real life. Then when you finally understand that people matter more than things, you will begin to live in a way that truly matters. We spend so much of our lives reaching outward, trying to grab hold of peace like it's something hanging just beyond our grasp. In the next job, the next house, the next relationship, the next weekend getaway, believing that if we can just fix our surroundings or control the chaos outside, somehow the storm inside will settle. But we were never meant to find peace in the shifting sands of the world. We were meant to discover it in the still, sacred center of our soul where nothing can be taken away. The world will never stop spinning. Headlines will never stop shouting. Responsibilities will never fully go away. And if your peace depends on perfect circumstances, you will live your whole life waiting for a calm that never comes. Because real peace is not found in the absence of trouble. It is found in the presence of something deeper, something unshakable, something rooted in who you are, not in what is happening around you. We try to mitigate the unrest, numb the anxiety, distract ourselves with entertainment and noise, thinking if we stay busy enough or successful enough or liked enough, we can quiet the ache inside, but true peace cannot be manufactured. It cannot be borrowed or bought or performed. It can only rise when the soul stops striving and surrenders to a truth greater than itself, a stillness that comes not from control but from trust. There will always be someone who doesn't like you, always be something you didn't get, some plan that didn't go your way, some pain that doesn't fully heal. And if your sense of peace is built on everything going right, you are building on a fault line. But if your peace is anchored in who you are becoming and what you know deep down, that you are not alone, not forgotten, not defined by the noise, then even in the chaos, you will carry calm. We think peace will arrive when we get away, when we start over, when we finally reach the top or find the perfect moment. But the truth is, if you don't have peace where you are now, you won't have it when you get there, because peace isn't a destination. It's a decision. It's the quiet courage to be still when everything says run, to breathe when everything says panic, to trust when everything says fear. There is a voice inside of you, softer than the world, but stronger than it all, that says you are enough, you are safe, you are held. And the more you learn to listen to that voice, not the critics, not the doubts, not the pressures of the past, the more you begin to realize that peace is not something you find. It is something you return to again and again until it becomes the rhythm of your life. And people may not understand it. They may ask how you stay so calm, how you carry such stillness through such storms, and you won't always have the words for it, because peace is not always loud or flashy or explainable. It is sometimes just a quiet confidence, a deep exhale, a steady halt in a shaky world. And when you live from that place, you become a refuge for others, not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned where the true anchor lies. So don't wait for the world to calm down before you find peace, because the world may never calm, but you can be the stillness and the noise, the clarity and the fog, the calm and the crisis, not because of what's outside of you, but because of what's within you. And once you taste that kind of peace, no storm can take it, and no world can give it. We carry pain like armor, hold on to wrongs like trophies of our suffering, thinking that if we never forget, we can somehow protect ourselves from being hurt again. But what we don't realize is that the weight we carry isn't protecting us. It's poisoning us. It's turning our hearts into prisons where anger is the warden and bitterness is the chain, and forgiveness, though it feels like surrender, is actually the key, because it doesn't say what they did was okay. It says what they did will no longer have power over me. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not pretending. It's not excusing. It's looking pain in the eye and saying, you will have to find me. It's walking out of the cell we built for someone else and realizing we were the ones trapped all along. Because when you hold a grudge, you grip a fire that only burns your own hands. And no matter how right you are, no matter how deep the hurt, the only way to be free is to let go. Not for them, but for you. And I know it's not easy. I know some wounds go down to the bone. I know there are apologies you'll never get and explanations that may never come. But if you wait for closure to move on, you'll be waiting forever. And there comes a time when you must choose peace over proof, healing over justice, grace over control, because forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it absolutely changes you, your heart, your future, your peace. Some of us are walking through life angry at people who are no longer here, bitter at people who don't even remember what they did, carrying the shadow of old betrayals like they happened yesterday. And every time we rehearse the pain, we reopen the wound. But forgiveness is not saying I'm fine. It's saying I'm done, not with the story, but with being stuck in it, because the wound may not be your fault, but the healing is your responsibility. Forgiveness is the most courageous thing you will ever do, because it asks you to lay down the sword when every part of you wants revenge. It asks you to rise above when the world tells you to sink down into hate, and it teaches you that power is not in payback. And no one has ever become smaller by choosing to release what was never theirs to carry forever. It doesn't mean trusting again. It doesn't mean going back. It means freeing yourself from the emotional debt of what was done. It means choosing to walk light instead of heavy. It means cutting the tie that keeps you anchored to that moment of pain, because your soul was not made to live in chains. And every time you forgive, you take a step closer to becoming whole. And sometimes the one we most need to forgive is not them, it's us. It's the younger version of ourselves who didn't know better, who stayed too long, who spoke in anger, who made a mistake we still wear like shame. And forgiving yourself may be the most sacred kind of freedom. Because when you finally say, I release you, you give yourself permission to grow, to breathe, to begin again without dragging your past like a punishment behind you. So let them go. Let it go, not because they earned it or even asked for it, but because you deserve to be free, because your future is too important to keep reliving what broke you, because forgiveness is not weakness. It's the fiercest kind of strength. The kind that chooses peace when pain would be easier, and when you live that way, you don't just survive, you soar.